Vale, con Batchery, sorry. As I said before, we will divide ourselves now in 3 groups. I would ask the people we are going to stay here in the investment group to come forward, otherwise it's going to look super empty. Then the other 2 groups of people will move upwards. Please, I would ask Mr. Joan Parra to take his group up to session number 2, the Barcelona Business Incubator Program, which will take place in room number 5. And the contribution of the European Commission in promoting circular economy, which is Josep Vicent Pastor, the moderator, to take his group to room number 4. We will meet here in around a little bit less than an hour for lunch and conclusions, and everybody to have a bit of coffee and food. So see you all in an hour. See you. Bye bye. A ver, los de inversión. No, los speakers no. La gente que se queda, por favor, que se acerque, que no me quedéis detrás. If you remain in this room, please come forward. Don't be afraid. We don't bite. Bueno, yo no muy a menudo. Yeah. Please, use everything. Just come forward. Espera que se me junte la gente. Vale. ¿5 también? Sí, seremos 5. Andrea, you sit over here. Joan. Chao, Andrea. Mira, Oscar, tú vas al final. Vas aquí. Me toca al medio y Joan te toca ahí. Mientras me acerco. Come. No. You were fresh. Now you're going to be warm. Okay. We have everybody now? Nearly? Sí. Ay, mira. Vale. Whilst the technical team puts speakers on the people, let me introduce the different persons. Okay. Mr. Joan Albá is the founder partner of Fluidra Accelera, which is the accelerator instrument co-founded with Fluidra. As many of you know, Fluidra is one of the largest companies dedicated to water management and pool management also. Joan has a large experience in corporate startup boosting processes, startup valuation. Okay. The next person coming is Mr. Andrea Di Anselmo, over here. I know Andrea now Andrea, how long have we known each other? I don't know. Long. Ages. Okay. So we need to count in chunks of 5 at the very least. So it's been, not 20 years, but 15 minimum. Okay. Andrea does everything. But especially we ask him to come here today because the company he's representing manages a total of 5 seed funds across different countries. So quite a unique experience. I will do a full introduction afterwards. Okay. Ms. Borao. Excuse me. Too many papers. Which comes from the Result Ventures again, and from the EIF, Oscar. So, starting with Fluidra, please, floor is yours. We need a little bit of help from the technical team, please. Thank you.
Vale. Okay. Well, Fluidra, it's a company listed a multinational listed in Spain in stock exchange. We offer solutions for handling, treatment, and we are a leader in manufacturing and distribution of swimming pools, wellness, and water treatment. Now we are in 46 countries, and we have office in 155 office in 170 countries, and we are about 4,000 people. Well, it's our interest. It's in what's Fluidra Accelera. Fluidra it's a tool for Fluidra Accelera. It's a tool for Fluidra in investing in innovation. Most of it it's disruptive innovation, and it's also it's a tool to present these projects to co-investors, and the idea is to bring the new innovation to their customers. In classic model, we are quite used in innovation as incremental innovation, and Fluidra Accelera is another kind of innovation, more external and more dedicated to disruptive innovations. What Fluidra apports to the products, to the projects? Normally, they bring a capacity of industrialization, marketing and sales, the knowledge of markets, management, internationalization, and all this in a short period of time, normally 4 months. In the we always invest in minority participations. Most of it's about 10% of the company, and we are so implicated in the acceleration that our first level of executive, the company, is what makes the committee of approval for participation, the project's participations. And also the mentors are also first directive of the company. Normally we can go from first round to second, and we have not decided at first if the project will become sold or incorporate to the company. Normally the idea of the entrepreneurship is that his idea is a little bit of R&D and a big product that the sales comes easily and to the end user. And normally what we teach is that the idea is not only R&D, it's also manufacturing, it's also distribution, logistics, and all the value chain before to the end user. And that's it. Thank you very much.
So I would like. Not working. I'll shout. This seems to be the common method. So, I would like to now give the word to Ms. Marta Borao. She's an investment manager. The word and the floor and the thingy-majiggy. In Barcelona Ventures. Ms. Borao is a chemical engineer with more of 10 years of experience in the job. Right now, she is working in international business development and venture capital investment management. So, Ms. Palau, the floor is yours.
Okay. First of all, thanks to Kim for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I'm part of the corporate. Okay, it doesn't sound good, but can you hear me well? Now? Okay. I'm part of the corporate venture capital arm of Repsol that has been running now for 5 years now. I'm going to show you all the initiatives we have to fund external innovation and also capture the value within Repsol. Okay, let's see if it works now. We have, first of all, a program called INSPIRE that is more related to collaboration with universities and research center where... Do I have to move this? Okay, sorry. Now it's working. Okay, so in the left-hand side you can see the INSPIRE program. It's a program where Repsol launched a global energy challenge to this research ecosystem within universities in Spain. Can you hear me well now? Okay, because it's...
Otherwise...
Okay.
Same as before. Yeah, okay with that?
Okay, with this INSPIRE program, as I said, what we do is we launch a global energy challenge to find these external disruptive ideas that can help the company to solve this challenge. These are really launched to Spanish universities and research centers. We are right now in the third call trying to select around 3 proposals that will be announced soon. And up to now, Repsol has been the only part in as a funding partner, but right now we are also looking for other industrial partners to collaborate with us in the funding. Apart from this, we have the Entrepreneurs Fund that belongs to the Repsol Foundation, that is a non-profit organization. Right now we are in the 5th call also to announce the selected companies quite soon. What we do offer in this incubator initiatives are non-refundable grants up to 12,000 euros per month, and during a period of incubator up to 2 years. Apart from this funding, we offer mentoring activities and a lot of support trying to accelerate the commercialization of the company. And then we have the corporate venture capital that belongs to the emerging business unit, and what we do is to take minority stakes in the company with 2 main objectives. That on the one hand is has to be financial return, so we look for high potential early stage companies, and what is even key for us is the strategic return. So we need, in some way, the implementation of these technologies within the companies. Okay. In terms of scope of investments, we need, of course, companies related to the energy sectors. It can be related to our core businesses, which is mainly the oil and gas value chain, and also other like energy solutions to the market. And we also keep an eye on future businesses for us. In terms of investment ticket, it would be an average of 1 to 3 million euros, okay, per round. And our strategy is also to keep investing in follow-ons, and we are more than welcome to co-investments. Sorry, it's me. Our portfolio is still quite small. We just have 6 companies within our portfolio. Okay, I would explain just as a whole. 2 of them are related to electric mobility. One is related to offshore wind. We have another company related to graphene manufacturer. And we have other 2 more related to oil and gas. One in the geophysics sector and the other in the industrial process monitoring. Okay, just to highlight the relevant partnership we have with SEDETI, like a co-investment, private-public co-investment initiative. Okay, and let's see. I don't see very properly, so I'm not able to see the screen. I hope I don't skip anything important, okay? In terms of volume, we receive like a deal flow of more than 100 opportunities per year, and we invest just in 2 or 3. So really the filter is very important. The implementation driver is key in order to choose the proper ones, okay? And just 2 other issues. Our value proposition to startups, why to choose Repsol as an investor, is from the one hand the financial capabilities and also the other resources that we can offer. We want to are able to do a potential commercial agreement. We have wide access to the market with our networking capabilities, and also we have R&D resources and experience in scaling the process, so we can help the company with the deployment. In terms of investor, what we do look for in the startups is the strategic return. So what I said, the implementation is key. We always look for an internal support within the company, okay? And we want these companies to help us to strengthen our core competences in some way, or help us as a market intelligence. The strategic fit would be different in many ways. And we, for the evaluation, what is key for us is the team, the business unit, the business model, the market opportunities, and the competitive advantages that the companies are able to generate in a sustainable way. Okay, we want the startups to be flexible and fast, and not to be absorbed by our slower pace. Okay, and that is all. Thank you very much.
Okay, so our next speaker is Mr. Andrea Di Anselmo. As I mentioned before, he's the Vice President of Mentor Group, SRL, and also one of his founding members. I know Andrea for 15 years. Oh, no, I have more things to say about you. Don't get ready. He has more than 25 years of experience in innovation support. That's not to mean that he's very old, just that he's very wise. And additionally, he's been working with a lot of what would be intermediate organizations such as Business Angel Networks, SME associations. He's in the board of directors of Cernic and Meta Ventures. And in addition, he's part of the management company that is operating the Ingenium funds, which work in Italy in different locations, in Slovenia and Poland. Additionally, he's also now the president of INSME, which is the International Association of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. Now, yes. Now you're out. Please, Andrea.
Should I use this one?
I don't know. Check if the other one works.
Is this working? Okay, good. Okay. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I'm very old. Since I was born and studied last century, and makes the difference. I would say, unfortunately, makes the difference. How many of you have kids? How many of you have kids in there, who are like 13 years, older than 13 years old? How many of you work with people who is older than 23, 24 years old? Okay. Do you see differences in between us and them?
You see, you're going to need this one.
Why I'm saying this? We have been working. Can I have the slide change? Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. We have been working for ages in this field of innovation and bringing research to the market. It's okay, yeah? It's okay, thank you. And we, through time, we started as a group of researchers, and through time we managed to bring together different points of view, and now we ended up to be, I mean, I would say the only, if somebody says you are not the only one, I would say one of the few, but still the only, company that is able to integrate in one another provision of finance with understanding of entrepreneurship and understanding of the innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem. And why I was asking the question about differences in between us who were born and studied, even worse, last century and the new generations. Because through years, we understood that things are changing faster than we can imagine. And the real problem is that ourselves, our structure, the way we look at things is not what it should be. And we are still looking at things with the glasses of the old guys. We should change our mind. So I don't want to say that we would like to disrupt and innovate the value chain that goes from knowledge to market, but we are trying to understand how to change a little bit, and we are trying to understand how engaging private resources and public money can help and speed up the process. We work across Europe, as Eri said. We started in southern Europe, in the Mediterranean area, and then we moved up to northern countries, and then we moved east to eastern countries. And now we cover up almost, I mean, all the southern and the eastern part of Europe, and we got experience in providing support to young entrepreneurs and researchers there, but also overall Europe, and I will say how. We work a lot on the policy level, and we learned that if you want to slow down processes, or if you want to understand why things are slower than expected, just look at whatever is going to be next in policy making as far as research and innovation is concerned, and look at smart specialization strategy. Good luck for the future. The only thing we learn is that everybody wants to keep doing what they used to do. Unfortunately, this is not going to help the younger generations. We work a lot with entrepreneurship. And one thing I would like to highlight, since this is about bringing research to the market, we are the sole provider for the European Commission, DG Research, for what is called common exploitation booster or exploitation support, whatever. We are the only company in Europe that provides all FP7 and H2020 projects with support for exploitation. We have been doing this since the last 4 years. We met more than 6,000 researchers, more than 400 projects across Europe. And you will be surprised how much we are far away from understanding what a problem is, and in understanding the difference in between customers and users. And I will tell you, and I guess that you understand also, I mean, how can you bring a research result to the market if you start from the solution and not from the problem? And if you don't understand the difference in between the user and the customer, the one who is going to give you the money, again, good luck, Europe. And back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we started to deal with the issue of finance. And we started to deal on how to invest in startups and in understanding what are the best ways to handle the risk, to bring something from very early stages to later stages. And what we learned is that this is a field where, differently from other situations, the container matters more than the content. Where the content is the knowledge, but the container is us. And I would like to say the entrepreneur. The person, female, male, doesn't make any difference, even if I have to say women are better than men. The ones who dare to take the risk and turn something into action. And the ones that do this getting together into a team. This is more important than all the rest. So we, through the years, managed to win competitions to run funds in Italy, in Slovenia, in Poland. Now we have almost 100 million euro under management. And what is even more interesting is that knowing the policy level, knowing the people, the entrepreneurial dimension, and knowing the business of investing in startups, we have been able to set up a sort of value chain of different tools and different way to provide not just money, but smart money and knowledge through the initial stages of the life of a company. So we are one of the few private companies managing a proof of concept fund. Proof of concept is what everybody needs and nobody gets. We work a lot with angels, business angels. All our funds are co-investment funds. We co-invest together with angels. We never invest alone. Again, because container sometimes matters more than content. And then, we were also able to streamline some co-funded funds where we bring together private and public resources and invest in more mature companies. It took us 20 years to build up the system, sometimes to get international level, and we are still now trying to understand what is going to be next, having in mind that the next couple of years, in terms of how the ecosystem will be organized and how finance will work, will be very, very different from what we are used so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea. 1 second, gracias. So I will pass now the word to Oscar Farrés, to give you a little bit of his background. Oscar started in this world of early stage funding in Caixa Capital Risk, which many of you, I'm sure, know. Also passed through Debaek Venture Capital and has also founded his own project, the Kineto project. Nowadays, Oscar has left Catalonia. He's now living in Luxembourg. Wonderful place. I used to pass by there very often. Just pass. It's small. You can actually stay. You just pass. And he works for the European Investment Fund, which, as you know, is one of the largest funding providers, not only for companies directly, but to other funds. Inside the European Investment Fund, Oscar is working mostly on the technology and innovation department. Oscar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you, Kim, in general, for inviting the European Investment Fund. The message I would like to convey during this short presentation is basically how the European Investment Fund is contributing to facilitate access to finance to innovative SMEs in Europe in general. We do not, just a disclaimer from the start, we do not invest directly into SMEs. What we do is we provide with money to financial intermediaries that will do the final investment on our behalf. These financial intermediaries are typically venture capital funds, like the ones we have around the panel, but also commercial banks for the loans and, in general, debt products. So without delay, I don't know how many of you know what the EIF is. It's not a very sort of popular institution in the sense that we are really doing our marketing efforts towards fund managers and commercial banks, so the entrepreneurs might not know about us. But we are a public-private partnership, and you will see what is our shareholding, with the objective, as I said before, of facilitating access to finance to innovative SMEs across Europe. And we do that, again, by selecting financial intermediaries that will deploy the money to the SMEs, which I hope we have a few examples here in the audience. And we do that in European Union countries and also accession countries. As I told you, public-private partnership, our main shareholder is the European Investment Bank. You might have heard about the European Investment Bank more frequently in the news. They take care of the large infrastructure projects. We take care of financing SMEs. Also, the European Commission is a shareholder in the EIF, and it's growing and increasing its stake as a shareholder. But we also have a large number of national banks and regional banks in our shareholding. I think it's important to share with you that we have a AAA rating, AAA financial rating. This is very important, and it also conditions a bit our movements. We have I would say, a dual objective. On one hand, a policy objective of contributing to the development of the European startup ecosystem. On the other hand, we have a financial objective, so we have to be self-sustainable. That translates in a very simple fact, is that when we select a financial intermediary, when we select a venture capital fund or a commercial bank to deploy the money, we look very careful at the track record and the past investments of that intermediary, and we try to make sure that this intermediary will be able to return the money that we give them. We try to be, and we are in fact self-sustainable, which is, I think it's a good thing for a public institution. We are the main provider of SME financing in Europe. You can see the figures there. I cannot read the figures, but I will tell you by heart. In 2014, I think we deployed around 3 billion euros across equity and debt programs. In 2015, because of the Juncker plan, which started in July last year, we deployed around 7 billion euros, again, across equity and debt products. And we are in line to deploy the same amount of capital this year. As you can see in the number of SMEs supported, really we have supported a large number of SMEs since 1994 when the EIF started its activity. This is just to illustrate the different kind of intermediaries whom we work. In the particular case of Spain, for instance, I can tell you we work with a large number of local venture capital funds, and just to name a few that you may know, we are investors in Caviedes, we are investors in Bullnet, we are investors in Seaya, High Growth, Nauta, Active Venture Partners, Crossroad Biotech, Adara Ventures, etc. We have a quite healthy deal flow of Spanish venture capital funds in which we will invest. And in terms of commercial banks, we work with the big ones, with BBVA, with Santander, with Microbank for providing micro lending to SMEs. So we tend to work with the vast majority of players in the market. Where does the money come from? Where does this 3 billion in 2014 or 7 billion in 2015 come from? From several sources, mainly from the European Commission. And again, in the last year and a half, most of it came from the Juncker Plan. The Juncker Plan is a 23 billion euro program to deploy across Europe, from which the European Investment Bank will manage 18, or is managing 18 billion, and the EIF is managing 5 billion. So that's a big chunk of our investment pot. But also we have agreements with national governments in the Netherlands, in Germany, in the UK, to create specific programs to develop the venture capital ecosystem in those countries. I don't know if this is not working.
Let me try.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now it worked. Okay. Thank you. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. So next time I'll target down. So here you can see we cover all the stage of financing for innovative SMEs from the very early stage, and we have specific programs for technology transfer and co-investment with business angels. I'll tell you a bit more later. Then we also support early stage venture capital funds, and then growth or late stage venture capital funds, as well as what we call low mid-market private equity. So when your company is already like in the 10, 20, 50 million euros revenue run rate, you would not go typically to a venture capital fund. You will look into more private equity funds. We also support them, and we convey money to the market through these intermediaries. So typically, I don't know at what stage of financing are your startups or your companies right now, but probably there is a EIF-backed intermediary which can provide you capital for your company. Specifically, and if we look at the current programs that we have from the European Commission, there are two types of programs that I would like to comment on. One is Innofin and the other one is COSME. So we have very specific mandates to support, on one hand, early stage, seed and startup stage companies, and this is the Innofin mandate. You might have heard about it, and you might want to look into the details of this program in the European Commission website. We manage a certain part of Innofin which goes to venture capital funds, but there are other programs and products related to the Innofin mandate. And then we are also managing the COSME mandate, which is targeting late stage and growth companies. And again, we are managing the part which goes to venture capital funds. So if a venture capital fund wants to invest in growth companies, we would probably invest from the COSME mandate. But there are other products from the European Commission related to the COSME mandate that you might access more directly. We are involved, as I said, in all these stages of the equity life cycle of a startup. This is probably this presentation, we can share it with you afterwards, but here you will have more details of all the different stages and what startups need to achieve in every stage to get access to this finance. And this is how we work, and I would like to take the opportunity here to talk about the eligibility criteria. So we act as a fund of funds. We invest in venture capital funds. What we look for in those venture capital funds is something that I already said, track record. We want to make sure that we select the best fund managers that can not only select the best companies to invest in and therefore produce a good financial return, but also support those companies with operational experience. This is, I think, a big difference in the evolution of the venture capital ecosystem. In the past years, you had typically investors with a financial background or consulting background. I mean, nothing bad about it. But now you are seeing more and more entrepreneurs who are joining venture capital funds, and these guys are able to provide the right operational experience, the shortcuts that Julian Vinouet was mentioning in the past session. They are able to really support and help the companies in a better way than just simply, by investing a certain amount of money. This is an evolution we are seeing, and this is something we are willing to support. And we look at the team dynamics of the venture capital fund, the strategy. We like to support also strategies which cover certain market gaps in emerging countries in terms of venture capital ecosystem, such as Southern European countries. And in more developed ecosystems, than what we like to see is that the managers are able, again, to select to have access to the better deal flow, because these are typically more competitive markets, and to provide the adequate value add to those companies. In the case of the Business Angel program, we have a specific program to co-invest with business angels. So if you have a business angel in your startup, you might want to inform him about this. We detected in 2011 that the business angel investment was really growing in Europe. Now it's a big chunk of all the early stage funding in startups. So we developed a specific program in 2012 by which we match one-on-one the investment that a business angel is making in a startup. So if the business angel invests 50K, we put another 50K on top of that. And we help them basically build a more diversified portfolio, and what is more important, to have more reserves for follow-ons, because typically the problem, and something you might want to look at when you are selecting your investor, is that the investor should have enough resources to follow on when you have further financing rounds, because typically you will always need probably a new investor in the next financing round. But if the new investor sees that your existing investors are putting a bit more money into the company, that gives a strong signaling effect to the new investor. So with that scheme, we want to encourage business angels to participate also in follow-on rounds. And here the selection criteria are very similar to the VC fund manager. So basically track record, business angel with good operational experience and with a hands-on approach, meaning that he supports actively the entrepreneur in the startup. And that's it, basically. So if you have more questions, then we can work on that afterwards.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, it's now 13:45 and 50 seconds, which means we have around 10 minutes. Which also means I'm going to jump all the questions I had prepared and just provide the same one for everybody. Sorry, guys, I know you prepared your questions and answers. My question is one, then I will give the word to the audience. Describe your ideal project, the one that you would marry, the one that you will have kids with and want to have a house in the suburbs. What is your ideal project, please? So let's start, in this case, with Fluidra.
Well, for us, first of all, it's which have an excellent team. For us, the team is 80-90% of the project. In second place, it's one of that matches on the core business of our corporate. And I think that's the two variable. Yeah.
That you would marry.
That and the scalability, so it can grow. Yeah.
It's okay. I wouldn't repeat the issue of the team because it's the core aspect. We like to have something which is more a business than a project, and I would like to have something that we don't understand. Because we invest in early stages, meaning that the risk is very high, and the return should be extremely high too. If we invest in something that we understand, this means that it's already around. Chances to win, very low. So for us, what matters is the right people that understand the difference, as I said, between users and customers. They understand the importance of the early adopters, and that has something that we struggle to understand.
Okay, for my answer, I will combine what would be my ideal project with the criteria we use to value all the investments. Okay, what we do in each investment opportunity, we draw a pentagon where we evaluate in each pentagon the key parameters for the investment, and we rank each parameter from 0 to 5. So my ideal investment will be to have a 5 in all these 3 parameters. First of all, regarding the team, it's already said, but just to highlight that is a very important issue. We like a multidisciplinary team with a clear strategic mindset. Okay. Regarding the business plan, it's very important to understand, first of all, the market opportunity, the size of the market that we're trying to handle, and how the company itself is going to access the market. So we need to we require a business plan, normally within 5-10 years term, and we have to understand the strategic plan of the company. Another issue to point out is the time to market. For us, it's very important to have more or less an ideal would be 1 to 3 years of time to market. We do not want to invest things that are being commercial in a very long-term approach. So very, very early stage, we prefer not on that. The strategic fit is the other parameter. So it has to be related in some way. Repsol needs to gain a strategic value and capture this on the investment. We look for implementation. And another parameter that we evaluate is the transaction itself with the other shareholders that will be with us. Okay, so maybe several shareholders on the company, also with financial capabilities. That will be an idea. Okay, and for these 3 parameters, the team and the business plan are the main issues for us.
Yeah. So a lot has been said already, but just to add, I would say that in Europe in general, what I'm missing and what I love to see in entrepreneurs is ambition, but global ambition, real ambition. Maybe, I mean, I was in Silicon Valley a couple of weeks ago, and maybe I'm still influenced by that, but there, if your startup is not going to change the world, I mean, don't even, go and see investors. And that might be a bit of overselling, and we don't probably need to be oversellers as the Americans are, and it's part of our culture. But still, we need to be ambitious. Do not look only into your national market, Spain. I mean, Europe is really big. We have the right skills and attitude to go and conquer other markets, and you can see it every day in the news. If you look at the current startup ecosystem in Spain, we are really, in some cases, conquering the world. And another thing which really makes me write the check in a sense, or at least when I was doing direct investments, is when an entrepreneur, presents you the project and you say, wow, this is really good. And then the entrepreneur pauses and says, okay, yeah, but this is just the beginning. Look at what's in store, after this is just the first stage, then we are going to do this. And then you say, wow, again. And then it's, okay, I want to write a check. Please, can I invest in your company? So try to think beyond, like the more short-term or mid-term product or service, and just keep it, for the last part of the pitch in front of an investor.
Sorry, I would like to add one more thing. It's very important to keep an eye on all the competition landscape. Okay, when we choose an idea and a startup, we always see at their competitors, and you have to show the investors why to choose you and not the other. Why are you better than the others? That is really very important.
Now. It's 13:53, 14 seconds, which means you have the chance here, incredible, to actually ask one question and actually be on time. Does anybody want to ask one question, or I go ahead? Hands, you have 3, 2, oh, yeah, it's all too close, huh? There you go.
Just a quick question. You mentioned, sorry for the director of the IMF. You mentioned that you co-invest with business angels. What is the process for that co-investment? Is that happening at any stage during the process? Is that happening in seed funds? Is that once the business angel has already invested and the product is already being launched? Can it be in any moment?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. So actually, the way it goes is the following. Basically, we get the request from the business angel. The business angel typically has already certain track record and so on. And it's not linked to a specific investment, in the sense that the process takes some time. I mean, we are a public institution, European Union. I mean, we have our internal processes, and it takes time to analyze track record, etc. And then once we set up the co-investment agreement, in which basically it's a small legal document in which we say, okay, now we have an agreement with business angel X. For the next 10 years, we will co-invest up to 5 million euros, for instance, in early stage companies. And from the moment we sign the agreement, we want to co-invest in all the investment that the business angel does. This is basically to avoid cherry picking, to avoid that the business angel shares the more risky investments with us, and then does the more straightforward investments on its own, his or her own. So then, when we sign the document, time starts, and basically we co-invest in everything. And the process then it's very, I would say, lean, in a sense that the business angel sent us a request, like, next week I want to invest in this company, I want to invest 100K, and then we receive that. We don't take any position on the investment decision. That is completely up to the angel. So we basically, if we receive all the formal documents, we send the bank wire in a week to the business angel account, and then after the investment, we get all the formal, notarized documents from the angel and so on. But you need to, in a sense, plan in advance, and when the agreement is signed, it's pretty lean. Yeah. Okay.
Andrea, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, because we also co-invest with business angels, but of course we have a different approach. We are not a fund of funds. We are fund managers. So when we co-invest with angels, we do on a business by business base, meaning that either we spot something which is interesting and we get in touch with business angel clubs and we say, guys, would you like to have a look? Or they spot an interesting opportunity and they come to us and say, guys, would you like to co-invest with us? And of course, each of us has its own evaluation, whatever process, and if we both agree, then we, let's say, co-invest into the company at the same conditions. So it's a different approach, given the fact that we operate on a different ground and on a different, let's say, governance level.
We have 3 minutes. Any more questions? Yes? No? Maybe I'm going to do the same thing to come backwards. 3, 2, 1. No? Fantastic. So I would like to thank Joan, Andrea, Marta, and Oscar for their time. We will be joining here again from the other groups in exactly 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So you have the time to go to the bathroom, wash up a little bit, and come running again. At 2:30 we eat. So come on, let's be fast. See you all soon. Bye-bye.